saw Dawn, I was like, man, all right, I forgot.
Very good. Blake, go ahead.
Yeah.
What are your overall thoughts on 2025 signing class? It's a big one, but got a lot of 50-year and 60-year coronavirus guys to replace. What do you think about this class?
Yeah, I think it's first off, I think I want to thank my staff and everybody involved with putting a class together, because it's a lot of hard work. And, the recruiting landscape has changed. The transfer portal has changed the recruiting landscape. And I think we've taken advantage of the different processes. I think we've taken advantage of to help us. This year we knew we were going to sign a big high school class, along with bringing in, I think, 16 transfers at midterm. That's the most I've ever brought in since I've been here. But that's for the simple case. The last 2 years, I think we've lost 47 seniors. And out of those 47, I think 34 of them are guys, maybe 33 guys have been here 4+ years. That's a lot of leadership. That's a lot of veterans. So you got to kind of have a happy mix. You got to bring in some guys with some experience, and that's where our transfers come into play. And then you also want to, put a good high school class together to make sure you're adding depth. But staff did a great job. Coach Goodman, who's our recruiting coordinator, setting, we all talk at as a staff, but setting a plan in place, and our guys working really hard to put this together.
Overall, was there any area of greatest need, or were there any specific goals that you wanted to accomplish with this class, whether it be a position group or overall culture, anything specific in 2025?
Well, I think you look at two things. One is, I think the transfers are more like, hey, we gotta go get some depth, or we gotta go get some help. Like we needed linebackers. I think we after the fall we maybe had 6 coming back. And you're going to go through spring football, so you need some more guys. So we signed maybe 4, 5 transfer linebackers. Okay, so from on that side of it, that's why, again, you're looking at the portal and the junior colleges, and get guys with experience. So that's more position oriented, to where high school is a little bit more like you're gonna try to sign 5 offensive linemen. If you get some more for depth, I think that's great, because I think that's a very difficult position to recruit at our level. Same thing with D-line. So, like, depending on how many we normally play 3 receivers, right? So we at least want to sign 3 high school receivers, possibly more. Everybody wants to come play receiver here. All right, so usually it's always going to be more than 3. All right, so that's kind of how it works in high school. We brought in a transfer quarterback because we only had 2 on the roster, so we needed to bring in somebody at midterm just to make sure that we could get reps in spring ball, right? And having 2 guys that are coming back that don't have any experience, really, you need to bring in somebody with experience and let them compete. It's called competition. Recruiting is competition, so it's different from high school. So anyway, if that answers your question, I know that's a long answer, but
that's all right. Well, the last one that I have is just to talk a little bit about some of the local guys. I know a lot of the Emporia people are always excited when there are people from Lyon County and Emporia High that are coming in. I know you've got a Spartan that is going to be on there.
Kobe.
Just talk about the local kids you have coming in.
Yeah, I think that Kobe Lee. Thing about Kobe is, I think we've known about him for so long, because he would come to our camp every summer. We were able to see him at team camp. Talking to his mom and dad. When he was smaller, he would be on the track before we had it painted. So tells me that it was a while back, and he was younger and always said he wanted to play for the Hornets. And maybe she told me that. Well, that kind of gets Coach Higgins. It'll pull on my heartstrings a little bit. So. Yeah, I'm glad. So it was important for him to be a part of our program, and that's important to us, because I always say, people always ask me, well, how's the class? Well, the class is great because these players chose to come here, and they wanted to be a part of our program. Yeah, there may be some guys we missed or decided not to come here, but they didn't want to be a part of it. So, move on, move past it. So, excited about Kobe. Some other local kids we got is the D lineman Holden Ziegler from over there at Council Grove. It's been a while since we've signed a player from there, and he's a big defensive lineman. Again, another player that was at our camp that we're able to watch and evaluate, and we're able to see him play this year. I think he's got a huge upside. Caden Estrada is another one that we got from Washburn Rural. And we're always going to take care of the guys in our state first, our home state first. And he's another guy that is kind of always call them start to finish guys that maybe were at camp, and then we might have offered him there, and then we recruit him all the way up until signing date from start to finish, and he's a start to finish guy. And then you look at the transfer, Landon Boss we brought in. I mean, that's he was a first team all Jayhawk linebacker. We tried to get him out of high school, and he's right down the road. I think it paid huge dividends that we did a good job of recruiting him in high school to where it made that decision easier for him to come here at semester.
Well, I actually did have one more question. I know you say you take care of the Kansas guys first, and I don't doubt that that's true, but I know you take care of the Oklahoma guys too, don't you? Yeah,
you were going to bring that up. I could tell where that was going, all right, from the moment you started. But yeah, and again, here's what I always say too, regardless at this level, you're always going to recruit high schools or places you're familiar with. I grew up in the state. My father was a coach there, so there's a lot of high schools. I know about the high schools, the tradition, know a lot of coaches. Plus, if you look at my staff, there's guys from Oklahoma, and there's other coaches on my staff that might be familiar with different areas, so and it all kind of depends on really the dynamics of your staff. But brought in a lot of good players from that state. The transfer quarterback that we brought in, I think he was 50-2 as a starter, started at Carl Albert High School, who they compete for a gold ball every year. They have great tradition. You want to try to get guys like that understand what it takes to win. One of our receivers that we signed, a high school player, they were 16-0 and won a state championship. Again, another player that comes from a great program, understands what winning's about. But yeah, we're always going to be down there. Plus, I got my dad calling me saying, "Have you checked on this kid over at so and so?" Anyway.
I think you guys hit most of the points I had, but one question that I had that kind of popped up while you were speaking is it tough with kind of the changes with the transfer portal now? Is it tough juggling or balancing recruiting high school kids in terms of the time spent and also spending time in, doing the transfer portal?
Yeah. Yes, I do think you got to balance your time as best you can. I think you have to look at, I think each year's different. All right. Like for us this year, we really went into the portal, where in years past it was more really selective, maybe 4 to 5 guys. This year, way different. So we spent a little bit more time with some of our transfer for guys, getting them on visits earlier than maybe our high school players. Okay. So it's ever changing. And I think, again, and I've been doing this a long time, so I've been able to go through all the changes. I think as a coach, you still have to adapt to those changes. It's very important to do that. You still have a way of doing things, and we believe in the things that we do and are going to recruit these type of kids. We always want to build it with high school players, always. That's how I've always done it here. That's a reason why I think we've had success here. And that's not going to change, regardless of the portal. Now, but you have to be able to take advantage of the portal when you need to.
Talking about that, just how is like the lower 48 tuition rate thing helped you going into the portal, so now you can go out and kind of go nationwide on some of that?
Yeah, that's helped tremendously. That's given us basically got us on an even playing field, you know, with all the other schools in our league, you know, and that's been huge. That's why, honestly, Don, we've been able to get such a big class is because we're able to stretch our scholarship money a little bit farther.
And then how easy has it been easier? Do you get more kids early now in the high school maybe because of the transfer portal and all that happening?
I do, and it could change next year. But the one thing we found out this year is, like on our first visit, I think maybe we had 8 players here on our first visit, and we had 6 commits right after that visit. So 6 out of 8. That's pretty good, right? Percentage-wise, okay? Well, that's never happened here before. Then the following week we brought in, I think before Christmas, we were probably hitting at about 85%. Of how many guys we brought in. And I think part of that is high school football players, and I don't know how it is in all the other sports, but they're not getting recruited like they were 5 years ago, 6 years ago. There's so many players out there. It's a bigger pot, okay? So it's hurting guys, you know, because we're able to kind of maybe recruit some guys maybe we weren't able to recruit 5 to 6 years ago because they're available because of the transfer portal. Everybody looks to go to the portal first because those guys have experience, a lot of them, right? So, again, it's how you want to do things, but I did notice this year, like we probably had almost over 20 commits right before Christmas. Never happened. Could totally change next year, you know, especially with all the different rules and things. You know, they change something every year, and then it doesn't really go down to Division II till, you know, another 2 to 3 years later.